Now, before I begin this, I want to start off by saying if you are a part of this culture, I am not dissing your culture. I hate doing stuff like this because me personally, I am not a. I say a lot of what comes to my mind. I don't really have much of a filter for the most part, day to day. Um, I am a free speech guy who thinks that you can pretty much say whatever you want, and yeah, you can be socially punished for things, but people should have the ability to say what they want, joke about whatever they want. That's just my personal belief. But if you have different opinions, I don't care. Like, do your thing. I understand that there are other cultures out there that are different than mine, and I see things and I think that's terrible, but I can understand, in certain parts of the world, they eat dogs and cats, and I think that's wrong, but like, that doesn't mean that they're wrong for doing it. This situation, I consider whales and dolphins and apes to be like pretty much up there with us in intelligence. Like, obviously, there are differences. We don't quite understand it, but they're freaking smart. And I think for the most part, the world, and I will say I live in the United States, obviously, and I believe we're one of the greatest countries on earth. Not saying the other ones are bad, but I love the United States. We do some screwed up stuff. We continue to do so. We have a lot to work on. That doesn't mean I don't think my country is amazing. But there are other great countries out there. And just because I don't understand one side of it or think one side of it might be bad doesn't mean that the whole country is like this. So now that I've got all the, explaining myself away crap, this is called the grind. I don't know how to pronounce it. I did a short on this earlier today, and people had such a crazy reaction to it already, just like so much more support for this than I ever thought there would be. I wanted to make a long form and be like, hey, like, greatly explain my point, because it's hard to do it in less than a minute. Um, but basically, in the Faroe Islands, a whales will, or pilot whales, and then there's some dolphins and stuff too that this happens to. They get close enough to the island, they're allowed to trap them inside this little area, push them to shore, and harvest them. And it's really only like a once a year thing, I believe. But basically, they're allowed to do this because it's part of their culture. And it's, the Inuits up north, up in Alaska and northern Canada, they will, hunt seals and stuff that we generally are not allowed to, bowfin whales, but they are allowed to because it's part of their culture. And yeah, we get on other countries, like the whole world gets on other countries like Japan and China for whaling. At the same time, the United States is pretty much the only country that has, the Second Amendment, where you have the freedom to buy and own guns. I love that about America. Um, but a lot of the rest of the world doesn't really, for the most part. So at the same time, I can see how they're like, whatever, we're gonna do it because we feel like it's what we can do. I can respect it and understand why other countries might feel this way. But and then also to go into, I know I haven't read anything yet, but the Sea Shepherd. I mean, this is plantbasednews.org. The only reason I'm using this is because they actually go into some great detail about what the thing is. Like, all the other news sites talked about one specific instance of them killing like 1,500 white-sided dolphins or something like that, and the Sea Shepherd, which is like the that ship that goes around trying to break up whalers. They were there and filmed the whole thing, and it was like some big news event back in 2021. That's what all this stuff is from. You don't hear anything recently about it. It's just from that one year. But basically, they claim it's sustainable because they only get a few of them. The Faroe hunt leads to the death of up to 1,000 pilot whales and other dolphins a year. I don't know if it's that high every single year. So pilot whales, okay, it goes into what a pilot whale is, which is not really as important. Um, Here we go. What is the grind? The Faroe Islands is home up to 53,000 people. There are 18 islands in the archipelago, and all but one are inhabited. The total land area of the Faroe Islands is 540 square miles. Meanwhile, the total marine area is 105 or 105,792 square miles. It's believed the Faroe Island grind originated around the time the first Norsemen settled there, roughly the 9th century. Whaling in the Faroe Islands is for non-commercial food purposes. Nowadays, it's arranged by the local communities of the 17 inhabited islands and is regulated by the Faroese authorities. However, there is no quota in place for the number of whales that are killed. Oh. The grind can happen at any time. When somebody spots a pod of whales, the grind master is notified and hunt commences. Locals use boats and jet skis to herd the whales into a designated bay where they use hooks, ropes, and monostangari, a Faroese knife designed to cut through whale spines to capture and kill the animals. In the Faroe Islands, it is considered both economic and environmentally good sense to make the most of locally available natural resources and maintain the knowledge required to use that nature can provide and maintain the knowledge required to use what nature can provide in a harsh oceanic environment. Why does the whaling take place in the Faroe Islands? Pal Nolso is a communications advisor in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Culture of the Faroe Islands. He told Plant-Based News the traditional means of food production from local resources are an important supplement to the livelihoods of Faroe Islanders. They include mountain grazing sheep, coastal fishing for household use, and occasional catches of pilot whales and other small cetaceans. Cetaceans being whales and dolphins and all that. Locals obtain meat and blubber from the grind, which is distributed for free within the local communities. Individuals who cannot participate, for instance, due to illness, are able to sign up to receive a portion. And also notes that the meat replaces food that would otherwise need to be imported. Whaling has enabled the Faroe Islands as an island nation to maintain a relatively high degree of self-sufficiency in food production, and also explain in the Faroe Island is considered both economic and environmentally good sense to make most of the local available natural resources and to maintain the knowledge required to use what nature can provide in a harsh oceanic environment. Okay, well, that's interesting. I guess being where I am, the fact that I have the ability to go to a grocery store. There's a Dollar General right down the road. There's a Publix right down the road. There's a Winn-Dixie. And then all the fast food. Obviously, I'm eating too much of it. Look at me. But when you don't have the ability to get to places like that easily, or it's more expensive because it's like a dead zone. Like you have to ship it out there. It's not, everything's more expensive. I've been told, I haven't been there, but that the Bahamas are crazy expensive because they have to ship everything in, like literally everything. They can't really do much else. Tourism is what keeps them alive. It's a very interesting situation then, because I can understand why they do it. I don't diss them for doing it. I can understand why. It just sucks that now, technically speaking, they can just ship everything in and they will get everything they need, but it is expensive, and a lot of them probably can't afford it, or it would put them under. Like I can understand the need. It just sucks. It just really sucks. I don't know how many of these pilot whales there are. From earlier in the article, it said that they were pregnant from 12 to 18 months, something like that. So they 35 to 45 years. They can exceed 60 years. Okay, they're pregnant for 12 to 16 months, and the calf nurses from 18 to 44 months. Jeez. So yeah, they're long lived. It takes a long time for them to reproduce, and I'm sure they're on the downward trend like most other whales. I don't see that's well. 123 pilot whales lost their lives. Is the grind cruel? Many believe that the grind must stop altogether. The Faroese local Okay, that's not really as important. Other threats to the pilot whales. Let's see. Found that between. Okay, that's how much fishing gear. During an estimated 2.9 million whales were killed for commercial reasons during the 20th century. With multiple species affected, blue whale populations have declined upwards of 90% compared to pre-whaling conditions. Or estimates. Yeah, I think they're on their way back though, which is good. Whaling has ceased in many parts of the world. Do people support whaling? 94 were against whaling. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people are against it. Well, okay, now it's just going back and forth between whether people should or shouldn't. So that's really it. They didn't give how many. Let's see. How many pilot whales are there? There are likely almost 1 million longfin pilot whales and at least 200,000 shortfin pilot whales worldwide. Okay, so, like, don't get me wrong. It's not like there's a ton of them, but they're not. They're doing all right. They're doing all right. Like their numbers are manageable. 100 a year of even 1,000 of them, probably okay. So they're not critically endangered or anything like that. Well, I mean, going over this, I mean, it's not that it's changed my mind. I still would like it if it didn't happen. I will say that. I would like it if it didn't happen. But it's just because my bias on cetaceans and how I think they shouldn't be killed. That's really it. If it was any other animal, I wouldn't have a problem with it. To be quite honest with you, deer, go ahead hunt deer. Bear, go ahead hunt bear. I don't care. Like, I know they're smart, but it's just because they're dolphins. And I don't even like bottlenose dolphins. Anyone who grew up in Florida, who grew up fishing, knows what dolphins are. And, doesn't mean I think you should kill them. Well, that's rough. I'm glad I went over this. I hope this guy opened up your eyes a little bit too, if you didn't know anything about it. Because all you'll see on the internet is sad videos of whales being killed. And I guess I was partially responsible for pushing that. But I hope you guys actually watch this video if you're seeing it, like if you ran across it. Because I don't have any hate towards any of these people. I understand they're doing what they feel like is culturally significant. But it's rough, and you got to understand that it's rough. I understand, that things I do in the United States that other countries don't do might be considered rough. My views on speech, my views on guns, my views on hunting, all that stuff. Other countries might not like that. I don't care, though. Neither do these guys, because it's part of their culture. So I understand it. I can respect it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. You let me hear your perspective down below. I want to hear some thoughtful discussions, and I will be a part of that as much as possible. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you on the next one.